Hi, this is Melissa Vasquez with MPA 594. This week's presentation, Application of Theory to Government Operations. I'm going to talk to you about a specific situation I had working in my department and applying some of the theories and discussing also some of those that didn't work out for this specific situation. So COVID-19 has had a direct impact on everybody's lives, whether it's work, your home life, what we do outside of work. And during this statewide lockdown, we had, in my department, we had a statewide conference call for specifically for my unit. And the purpose of this phone call was to communicate what was currently happening. Management was communicated what was currently happening, what changes were going to happen, such as budget cuts. But the other purpose was to discuss our fears as inspectors. We do a lot of field work and we're in retail stores. So discussing what fears we had and then getting together talking about it towards the end of the phone call was how do we go about addressing those fears that we have, addressing those resources that are being cut back, and how do we go about doing our job despite all the changes. After this, about a week or two later, we had a follow-up phone call, and the purpose of this was to communicate any more updates and discuss the changes and receive feedback of whatever changes were implemented, and if need be, if something was working out, developing new SOPs. So in this whole situation, one of the theories that still held true was Mary Parker Follett. So some of the concepts her concepts that held true were power with rather than power over. And an example of this was when we were as a unit discussing our issues. For example, vehicles were taken away for some of the inspectors. Now, how do we move on from that? Well, figuring out things were going to be rentals were going to be acquired on an as needed basis. And so, what we were doing here was problem solving based on the changes that we were seeing. A week later, talking about those changes and were they effective changes. Another concept was the situation that she states is situations evolve in a circular and not linear method. Well, with the ever-changing COVID-19 at the very beginning, things were ever changing. We had to be adaptable to the changes. We had to be flexible. And again, communicating things as changes were applied, as new changes came in. So those were some of the concepts that applied during this situation in my department. Another theory that held true, or a concept, was in Leonard D. White's theory, which is there's an area where he specifically states that the goal of conducting state business or government business, the goal is to do it in the most expeditious manner, economical, and while still being able to complete the goals of the program. So again, going back to budget cuts, we were seeing changes. The revenue was going to be affected. That meant that our costs in the way we conducted business was going to be reduced. So how do we do that and still keep the public safe based on the inspections that we were doing, keeping food out on the table? Now, concepts that didn't hold true were specific areas in Max Weber's theory and of bureaucracy and the efficiency of Frederick Taylor. So, for example, the situation, the COVID situation called for flexibility and fluidity. So the current SOPs, the current documents that we had weren't holding true anymore. So we had to modify them, and they were effective immediately. And we were just going to fix them as we went along. Office hierarchy. This was also another concept that didn't hold true because now, for instance, in communicating our fears, we didn't have to go to our direct supervisor at this time. It's whoever we felt comfortable in order for the workforce to feel that we were being listened to. And finally, laws or administrative regulations. Now, we are very big on regulations, but this emergency situation called for releasing product that's under our jurisdiction because there was food shortages happening. So we had to do immediate or emergency rules in order to keep food out on the table while keeping our public safe. This concludes my presentation. Thank you for watching.